Hello and welcome to the Yascast. I'm your host Yasin, and this is the Yascast named after me, Yasin. That's. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. This is the Fedi podcast for anyone who is on the Fediverse and who is a Fedi friend. And which better Fedi friend to start the question mark episode with than Joe? Joe is at Shadow Jonathan at tech.lgbt. And do you want to say hello, Joe? It's so great to have you on here.
Yeah. Okay. How could I not start this podcast without that? Just be honest.
I mean, that was a perfect way to introduce yourself there, Joe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I'm Joe, as is known by the Fediverse by now. Yeah, actually not. It's just the local area. You should be in the area to know me now.
yeah, you
It's
should be just in like a little neighborhood that we're in, little neighborhood.
to be in the neighbor. No, it's yeah, it's very nice to be on here.
Thank you, Joe.
Why wouldn't it be? I am kind of struggling to introduce myself. I mean, I have right now on someone is telling me you are meeting the Joe. Yeah, we are all meeting the Joe. Did you know that I have for my header that that one scene from, actually no, it's not a scene, I think, but it's I'm forgetting his name. The one guy, the himbo from the Emperor's Groove.
Oh yes,
holding
yes.
up a card which says Jester's Privilege. So I have had that header for probably the entirety of my Fediverse career this year,
Okay.
because it's more or less true.
It's more or less
The
true.
one thing people might know me by is that I post stuff under this CW Watts, and then when you open it, it's like a little present because you don't know what it is.
It's true. It's
inside.
absolutely true. Absolutely.
I
true.
even don't know what is inside.
Even you don't know what's inside. That's yeah. I mean, I see them. I click them. I open. I'm like, wow, this is primo. You know, this is like the wagyu steak of shit posting right here. I mean, today you posted one that was like CW1. I was like, okay, I clicked it, and it was like was it like Nuke Sweden or something
Yes.
yeah.
No. It was Open Source Sweden.
Open source Sweden. Yes. And I
don't know why.
And
So-
I riffed off that by saying if I cut my hair, then I will nuke the kingdom of Sweden.
And that exploded
that's
violently. That one post, I saw people react off of that, and I was like, "Yeah, this is proper Fediverse content."
This is probably Fediverse now. It's true. It's true. I mean, are you really on a Fediverse if you haven't riffed off someone else's post, and then suddenly your post is like?
I remember now. My own post was a riff of one other's post. It was like something. Some list of open source software, and in between there was Albania, and I was like, wait, what?
I mean, trust. Look. Considering like open source software name, I think Albania is like the least surprising thing to name software after. I mean, look, think about it. You got Rust. I don't know if this is all. I mean, this is all programming stuff, right? I don't know any of that, but like
Albania
just
sounds like a Ruby software name. Something for Ruby.
What Ruby like the gem?
Ruby is a programming language. It's basically Python, but for people who didn't like C. Actually, no, Python is for people who didn't like C.
Python? C? What's the ocean got to do with this stuff?
Oh yeah, something else to note for the podcast. I do tech, I do software, and I do actually large part of the technical administration for tech.lgbt. Yeah, it's
like I just like that's like a very
is
I love how that's like your like the most important thing about what you do on the Fedi, and you just slipped it in just here, just right in the middle of this little bit here.
Oh yeah, by the way, I do something for a big server. Yeah, no, it's honestly just I forget it sometimes, and I'm just like, oh yeah, oh the server is slow. I should check up on that. Sure.
It's what you do. It's what you do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. I mean, yeah, that's Joe in a nutshell. You know, Joe is kind of like all over the place, but Joe and I, we mesh really well, I think. By the way, you guys, anyone else can't see this obviously because this is audio. I mean, you could be able to see this if you're working for like the GCHQ and you're like watching my screen now. But for some inexplicable reason, the studio has Joe's name as just Joe. And my name is Yassine 590047438. I don't know why, because my username on here is Yassi
Oh,
J.
you need to mention that my own use, like one of the first emojis I uploaded was was a cutout from the JoJo logo, and I just put
Yeah,
Joe as my.
that's your username. That's perfect. That's
It's
brilliant.
not
Uh,
JoJo. It's just Joe.
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 I mean, that's your name. That's Joe. That's Joe. Yeah, I mean, one of the first questions I have for you. I mean, you've been on Fediverse for quite some time now,
Oh,
actually.
I could actually elaborate on that.
Yeah, yeah. I was
I
gonna ask you.
think I
So how
actually.
long? Oh, sorry. How long? So like your experience, your time in the Fediverse has been a lot longer than mine. Like how long?
Uh,
How many years has it been?
it hasn't been consistent. I mean, my own profile says join June 2020,
Right.
which
Okay.
was more or less right when the I'm thinking of a joke here. No, it was like right after pandemic came on in March. Then I
Yes,
was
that's
like,
right.
okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need to find something else. I think I saw Mastodon as something, and I was like, oh, this looks cool. Let's join it. I was into Matrix at the time very heavily.
The
It's
chat
like
app
this.
or the thing?
Matrix is a protocol. So
Right.
Element is the app,
I see. I
which
see.
everyone uses, and Matrix is the protocol. And at the time, I was like looking at decentralized stuff, and so I just joined Mastodon. I think I joined Mastodon technology, which is dead by now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've never heard of that in my entire
and
life. Like,
at some time, I was like, yeah, I really want to join a better server because at the time I had little to no idea of what my own identity was or something. So I just joined the other server. And like last November, yeah, it was November. Yeah, yeah. I or no, somewhere in between. Dot technology was dead, and I could still export all my one follower from that account to this one. So if you're by any chance that one follower, welcome.
been there
uh,
since the start. Been there since the start. That's great. That's great.
and yeah, so I think I used it for a few months, and I used it with the idea like that. Yeah, I use Fedi until I don't feel the need anymore to use it. So I mainly use it in some vacations. Like I thought the whole point of Fedi was you're on there, but the whole point is that you get off of there because you need to get your fix and then you need to get back into real life. So and then in November the excursion happened
Yes,
from
the Exodus. The
Twitter.
Exodus.
The Exodus, yes, not the excursion.
Excursion means trip. So I mean, for some people, it was a trip. You know, they came to Fedi, they fucked right back up to Twitter. Yeah. So for some
Yeah.
people, it wasn't an excursion,
Oh
but
yeah. Oh, okay. So for Fedi, it was like this whole thing
mhm,
of like everyone was joining, and
right.
I got back onto tech.lgbt, and it was like, yeah, posting is a little slow. I've pressed the post button a minute ago, and it's still working.
Wow, that's
Like
crazy. So,
this wasn't even federation things. This was just the API. This was just like, yeah, you press a button and the website does something. No, it wasn't. It David reached out to me and was like, actually, no, I think I reached out to David and was like, yeah, I think the service is a little slow. Can I help? And that's how I basically just got in as the technician of
oh, okay.
Tech.lgbt. And by then, I was just basically wholly involved into it. I love Fedi for this incredibly, like, the whole point of it is that we don't know every server that exists. I don't
Right.
think that Mastodon.social even knows every server that exists. And it's
Wow.
not even like yeah, they're not interacting. No, they don't know. And the whole point of it is that it's just like this whole big tapestry of interconnected servers where there's locality. It's
Right.
not like Twitter where it could go in any direction. No, there's actually some servers that my posts don't even reach, not because they have blocked us, but because they literally don't know the people that don't know that people that know me. It's
Oh,
like
that's interesting.
this whole spread that we probably worldwide haven't seen since what, since the 1800s or something.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Yeah. I guess that's interesting to
So
think about from a technical
yeah,
perspective.
so for me, this the idea that there's a network which is more humane. I see Fedi as incredibly humane.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, whatever the meta, I just see it more as like a. I see it more natural than the suppression that's happening on big platforms. Like seriously, on big platforms you can have all of the moderation and all of the stuff that's happening there, and then you have one vibe. That's not on Fedi. On Fedi, you can have any vibe that fits any person that can
Right.
work in any
Right.
way. That obviously that's going to lead to some servers that has all of the absolute bullshit on it. But at least it's those servers that is going to have it. Those servers are not going to press them out. Maybe the ISPs, maybe the domain holders, but like you block that server and okay, they're gone.
Mhm.
They're not going to pop up anywhere else because that's where they're conglomerate. So like one thing people don't realize is that even those people need some other people who they can converse with, and if they have that, then they don't go anywhere else.
Right.
This is just a massive disclaimer. This is just in people in general, but when it comes to Twitter people, those aren't satisfied that they have an echo chamber. Those really, 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 really
Right.
need to
Right.
have someone
Yeah.
else to look down on. And I have a little bit of let's say a little bit of feeling towards those people,
I
but
mean.
at least they're
Mhm.
as a moderator they're fairly identifiable.
Right.
um
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so in between those months, like the first months after November were really rough.
Right.
You
Yeah.
would
I must
actually
imagine.
feel the cracks in Fedi, and I was really
Interesting.
worried for the time that Fedi actually would survive all of this pressure. And I
Seriously.
feel that it has absorbed it. There are
Yes. Yes.
aftershocks, and there's people in places who haven't changed in the sense that they came from Twitter and they basically carried that whole personality with them.
Right.
But
Right.
at the
Right.
core, they haven't really changed some aspects of who they are or who Twitter has cultivated them to be.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm just thinking like, yeah, this is a long process, which is just going
Yeah.
to
Of
take a few
course.
years. I don't think that Twitter right now has people left, or at least people who really have the potential to come over here in this big migration as has happened now. There's now Blue Sky, and there's now Hive. Is it dead already?
Hive. Oh my God! You just unlocked like a core memory. You just like
Yes.
I haven't thought about Hive ever since back then. Yeah. So
I'm
Hive
struggling
was
to
a
think of alternatives right
Hive.
now.
Hive was. I remember Hive. I remember Hive very well. Not because I want to join there, but because I
It's
remember
not
just
like T2. You don't want
no,
to
no,
join that.
no, no. But I remember the absolute fucking bullshit that it was, right? So I mean, I don't know why, but you just like unlocked like a core memory. I remember seeing people on Mastodon.log talking about Hive. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I think you should if you're following me and you listen to this podcast. But in case you're like some random person who just stumbled upon us, Mastodon.log was the first instance I ever joined. Anyway, that's enough context. People were talking about this thing called Hive as an alternative to Twitter, right? And I remember that Hive had a app for Android, and it was in beta, and I downloaded it. And for context, I have a Pixel 6 Pro, right? And that should be like
Oh,
the best of the best at the time, at least, right? And Hive.social would
I see
render
where
at
you're going.
like Hive.social would render at like like 2 frames a second. you would you would scroll up, and you could see the screen like actually like tearing. You could see the screen tearing as you scroll up, right? And then Hive
Oh,
basically,
screen tearing. Oh,
yes,
what did
yes.
they do? They did. Oh,
Honestly, I don't know what they did, but the other things was that there wasn't actually a way to reserve a username, right? So obviously on Twitter, on Facebook, on any other social media platform, within one Fedi instance, if you have a username, someone else can't take that username, right? However, on Hive, usernames were not unique, so there were
wait,
um
what?
yes, usernames
Well,
were not
there was
unique.
no differentiate. There was no like
There was
Discord,
no
like that.
discriminator. There was no differentiator.
What?
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
How does
So
it
so
work?
so yeah, I believe someone said that each user has a unique ID, a UUID, right?
Yeah, 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 internally,
Um,
of course, because
internally, right?
but what?
But the UUID is not matched to the human readable username. So two different users can have the same username
Yeah, okay, how does that work? So if you put the username in your
in the
search bar, and
right.
would both users just pop up?
Yes, both users would pop up.
Wh-
They would be separate users, right? But but with the same name, but no way to discriminate between them. Mean that if
How?
you try to tag one, it would be a
Oh
potluck
my!
as to whether. So, but that basically meant that you could not username swap. You could
Ah.
not reserve your username, right? But I believe from my last recollections about Hive Social is that, I mean, firstly, it applied the same business model as Twitter, right? So ad supported, blah 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 blah, right? Selling off your user data, blah 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 blah. The last thing I remember is that it picked up quite a few dollars, and
Yeah, that's
obviously that has been for nothing because no one has
well.
spoken about it. I think you and I may be like the only people to have ever spoken about it.
Remember, we're speaking from the void, and I'm just remembering all of the forgotten things that have slipped between the cracks.
But
Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do.
it's
I do remember Hive Socials being one of the Twitter
and you
alternative.
mentioned you mentioned venture capital, and I'm just like, ah, yeah, that's venture
Yeah.
capital, all right. That's the fate of any venture. It's either they die or they die later when they get squeezed out. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. And obviously, Fedi is immune from venture capital stuff.
It's
Um,
I
I
would
mean,
say
well,
it's
not
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 immune, but
compute. It is better protected against that
like
kind
if
of stuff.
tomorrow they would bring out a Fedi software which is venture capital backed, and an app which is like what if just Hive would pivot to just interoperating with Fedi?
Right,
Like
right.
the whole point of it is just like we have already sort of had this with Threads, which
Yes.
we joined a pact which was like, yeah, if Threads joins the Fediverse, then we instantly defederate from them.
Okay.
But we also had just have a vibe among the mods, which is just like, yeah, we don't really like any commercial thing, mostly because they data scrape. Like it's very easy to data scrape if you don't. This was also why we enabled authorized fetch. For any listeners, authorized fetch is a mode in Mastodon which basically makes sure that okay, so a little bit of background, but on the programming level, when you would ask a server for some data, it would say, sure, here you have it. You don't have to authenticate yourself to me, but here you have it. With authenticated fetch, you have to, which would say that you would have to like cryptographically verify that you're this other server. Like if someone from I'm looking at my timeline like right now, Crab Garden or UU is or Mastodon Social would want to fetch something from us, they would have to verify themselves first to us, programmatically. But if we have blocked them, they cannot fetch anything from us, which is
Right.
why when we would block some server, they cannot get any data from us anymore. Like that's the whole idea.
Okay. Oh, I see. So as far as this other server is concerned that you blocked, you might as well not exist.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
also breaking. This is why I really like to see authenticated fetch used more, because it apparently it breaks some server software which assumed that you can fetch any data at any time except when the server is down. So that has caused,
Interesting.
yeah, it when we enabled it, we got some feedback of, oh yeah, I should update my server because this old version doesn't work with your server when you have blocked it. And I'm just like, okay, thank you for mentioning it, but we have blocked you for a reason. Why did you tell us this?
That is fantastic. That's
it's,
brilliant.
it's 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 honestly it's like, do you care about this? This is even more creepy. Why are you contacting us? But okay.
That's fantastic. That's great. I mean,
um
that's a really useful feature.
so yeah,
Um,
just going entirely back to like my idea of Fedi as a like even Fedi as a whole is just sort of, I wouldn't say pack immune, but something like it's diverse.
right,
And when you
right,
have something which is diverse and every server is on its own, you don't need, like, John Mastodon doesn't have a button where you can turn off the Fediverse.
right.
He doesn't even have a button where he can do it, even if he builds it in and installs it on all Mastodon servers, because not all Mastodon servers make up the Fediverse. There are what, Firefish, Calc. Oh wait, that's the same thing.
That's
um,
the
it's
same.
Perma and their 100,000 forks. And Go to Social,
Right.
which is still work in progress, and I'm really looking at right now for reasons like they are, that software is made by some good beings. So I'm expecting big things. Meanwhile, Miski and Kalki, oh wait,
Firefish, firefish. Can't believe you used the dead name there.
oh, I remember some old Paramore drama right now. So oh, I'm remembering some old memories right now. But there was this old drama or this old discourse which was going on for weeks and weeks when Fedi was a lot slower than it is right now.
Right.
Uh, Someone is saying in my feed, YouTube, please, YouTube Music, please, for the love of Satan, stop recommending Ed Sheeran. Just stop. I don't know what it is, but someone is saying it.
So back to
Someone,
back to plura,
yeah,
plura,
okay.
plura.
So Plurima was in the meta because they exist. Uh, well,
Okay, good.
more specifically for the fact that the whole point of Mastodon, like this was this discourse of how easy is it to set up servers and how much are you enabling abusers to just set up a server and then go abuse someone or just make like this whole thing of Parama is too easy to install. Like
Right.
that was the meta. That was the whole discussion, and that's why
But
why
shouldn't software be easy to install? I mean, like
it,
obviously
the
it like it
problem was that it uh, people saw it as enabling
bad actors.
abuse, bad
Right.
actors, because anyone could just install Pleroma and then just start harassing someone on under a domain. And I was like, yeah, that's a fair point,
Hmm.
but this is just so murky because there's not a clear answer. Like, would you make want to make Fedi more harder to install
Right.
now?
Right.
And I'm just like, yeah, this is just kind of bullying towards one kind of software. Like it came so far that some instances just started preemptively blocking any Pleroma instance they saw, and
Interesting.
yeah, and it
And
was
so
for
is
some good reason because honestly, like literally every kind of channel or 4chan or just that corner of the internet would just use this software because it was very easy to install. It had the right vibes for them, and it, yeah. So it was a fairly good, like the same reason why Soapbox right now is a very good indicator of so, and why Miski is right now also just a very good indicator for us of because we have how many 10, yeah, we have banned 10 domains with Miski which have spread Japanese pedophilia around,
right.
which
Right.
is it's the numbers are a little bit we have banned 10 servers and 10 of them were risky.
Right. Right. I see. I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 That
So yeah, it's a whole thing of like association of server type and content type. I would say it's not unfounded, but it's also just like a little bit dumb. Like you all run what Akama, right?
Yes, yes.
So would you
Akamo is
ban all Akama servers just because you're in this space? You're just kind of these like my vibe of this of echo.wtf, also that one, which is just like my vibe with those servers. It's just like not adjacent, but in the same kind of like shitposty
right, right, right.
troublemaker.
The kind of irreverent kind of
Like this sort of punkish vibe.
yes, yes, yeah, that kind of no nonsense,
I wouldn't
but
say
but
no
full of
nonsense because
nonsense.
there's a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of
No, yeah, no,
professional nonsense
it's
going out of
it's
those
it's professional
servers.
nonsense. Professional nonsense. That's the way to put it. It's
Professional
it's no
nonsense.
no nonsense, no bullshit, but plenty of nonsense and plenty of bullshit. You know what I mean? It's that I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. In that sense. I mean, like the thing is that obviously these kinds of thoughts they do die hard, and and I'm aware personally that Akuma is a
I haven't heard any of the Pleroma equals rubbish meta really much. Maybe it's because there's a lot of more meta going around, which is just like,
right,
but
right, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, I'm aware that Akoma is so Akoma is a software that my Fediverse instance runs, which is 0w0.is. Oh right, yeah, yeah. I'm Yassi. I'm at Yassi underscore J at 0w0.is. You can follow me there. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably already follow me there, but that's besides the point.
actually, let me explain, listeners. What you will do to follow Jesse is you would put Jesse in your search bar and then follow every single one account that pops up.
Okay, okay. Are we going down this road? This road, yeah, yeah. All my alt accounts, huh? Or
Your
just for
1,000 alt accounts.
1,000. It's not 1,000, okay? It's like it's not okay. There's not that many, all right. And I've had to delete a couple because the
Oh,
instances have
you had to remove your clones.
uh, yeah, like I was saying, yeah, I know that Akoma is a fork of Pleroma, Plamora. I keep getting the letters mixed up.
Plurma.
Is a fork of Plamora.
Plurma.
Pleroma, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, pleroma. Fuck, I can't fucking say it now. Is a fork of that particular software. And I've seen the negative attitudes that some people have towards that particular software
It's a
cast
little bit
over
latent.
to a coma, and I think
Yeah,
that's so it's kind of
my vibe of it is like it's a little bit leftover of the whole earlier like I can't decide if it's just a leftover or if some people are just instigated it intentionally for their own
right.
goals. I'm seriously just like, okay, what is this? Why is this? And
Yeah, no, no, yeah, exactly. I mean, some people do have a problem with Akoma instances, which I find very interesting because obviously Akoma is split from Plamora from Paroma because of the meta with Pleroma. Um, and so I think it's amusing that even though there's a very obvious clear divide there, both in name, in form, and in function, that people are still pulling them in the kind of same net.
like I think Ekama also just started as like this one fork that someone wanted to make because they really didn't vibe with with
Right, right.
someone who was hosting an original. And the reason they called it Ekama, like I read this somewhere, was because they really like the echo emojis. Echo
That's
the character.
right, 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 right. That's great. I mean, honestly, what a better thing to name your instance after. I mean, if I obviously was naming fork, if I was naming the fork,
If no, if you were naming a Macedon server, you would name it Yasdon.
Right. Well, okay. I mean, yeah, of course. If it was Mastan, then it's Yastan, right? If it was Miski, then it'd be Yaski, and if it was Go to Social, then it'd be, I don't know, go
Just
to
to
Yas or
social.
some Yas to Social. If it was Friendica, then it's Frienda Yas, Friendic Yas. But if it was a coma style, then I would call it Nepoma, right? Because of my
No.
love for Nep Nep.
Oh. Oh, Nep. Oh, huh. That's a okay.
Because Akoma is named after Akko, right, from the anime, My Little Witch
Oh,
Academia,
yeah, yeah. Oh,
right? So I
oh,
wouldn't.
I really want them to continue that anime. Oh,
I do too. I
it's
do
so
too.
cute.
It's
It's
so
so.
cute, so wholesome. I remember I watched the original films. I think there was three films, right?
I
Three,
haven't
three
watched
short.
those. Like I
Oh,
saw the
really?
OVA. No, no, no. I really I was like, okay, what am I gonna watch? Then I looked at the wiki, which was a bad idea, uh, and I saw like, oh wait, there's more. There's an OVA and there's a series. And I took one look at the OVA visuals and the series visuals, and I was like, hmm. Actually, no, I didn't look at the visuals. I was just like, okay, which one has longer, more runtime length? Because the OVA you have to cram everything in what 1.5 hour.
Right.
And with a series, you can just like
Spread it
have
out over
plot
the.
development, which
Right.
wow. And honestly, it made things for the better because like the whole thing, like La Croix, I think was her name, like that one hacker lady. I really like her vibe. Oh
Oh God, yes. She's so.
yes.
She is the silent type, but you know that she would be there for you with some crazy wacky invention. Just so good. No, I think
The
Little Witch
one scene
Academia.
I tried to find the one scene where she. Okay, I need to boost this. Okay. The one scene where she's just slurping noodles while something is happening in the foreground. I'm just like, yes, this is the vibe. I need
The
this.
vibe. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I
that
should
would
put this as my header, maybe.
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 Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is such a you vibe. To be honest, I think you have the same vibe as that character from Little Witch Academia. I mean, I remember watching the original films. I think there was two, maybe three films. There's someone who is an Akko mega fan who is gonna correct me. And
How dare
that
you?
how dare I? But it was either two or three films. I'm not gonna look it up because I'm too busy being the producer right now. But 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 I remember watching them. I was completely captivated by the original animation. I thought, wow, this is spectacular. And I was really sad when I watched the end of the last film made, and like I wish they made an anime of it. And like a handful of years later, they made the anime, and I was really excited. Except for one key thing that was not so good about the anime,
Oh.
and that was who it was made by.
Oh.
Netflix was the
Oh
yes,
yeah.
that's right. Netflix was the international distribution partner
Oh.
for for the anime. So they obviously funded it, but they also were the distributors internationally outside of Japan. And what they did was that contrary to most other aired, and also how anime is usually shown on other streaming
Wasn't
platforms.
it?
So, for example, if you on Crunchyroll, High Dive, that's it, isn't it? Crunchyroll and High Dive. Holy crap! It's just those two. Oh my god. Well, on Crunchyroll or High Dive, for example, they will air the episodes at least an hour or so after their initial air in Japan, and anime in Japan airs weekly. So that means anime on High Dive and Crunchyroll and so on will also air weekly, at least an hour or so
Oh yeah.
after the original release. However, what Netflix did was that um, they instead wanted to batch the series into two batches. That
Oh
meant
yeah.
that watchers who were watching outside of Japan would only be able to watch the anime after the 12th week, the 12th episode had aired in Japan. So
And
because
then one big
because
batch.
Netflix
Because yeah,
because
I've
Netflix
uh,
wanted to do a big batch of the episodes like they would do with a traditional Western TV show. So the Netflix model obviously is to produce a bunch of episodes in a row and then shove them all out in one go, right? That's using Netflix model. They wanted to replicate that with anime, but obviously that does not work because anime watchers are used to watching week by week, which meant that if you were a paying customer of Netflix, which I was, you were actually losing out in comparison to people who were watching it illegally. And that's what I did. Even though I was a Netflix subscriber, I watched the animes and I watched each episode week by week by torrenting them from with fan subs, right? And that is really sad because obviously Netflix there dropped the ball with that, and it also meant that if you were paying properly, if you were being a good consumer, then that means you would have to wait 12 weeks for the first batch and then another 12 weeks for the second batch of the 24 episodes.
It's so weird.
And it's
Netflix has
so weird.
done.
Netflix, yes, and Netflix does the same with other Japanese products too. For
They
example,
they have this whole I don't
it's
even
very
think it's
American.
no, wait, I don't even think it's quintessentially American, but it's quintessentially them to be
Yes, it's
like, yeah,
quintessentially
we
Netflix.
want
Yeah.
to batch it so you binge watch it all, and
Yep.
it's just like, why is it?
Why?
Because it makes your number go higher? And I think it is because
I
it's
think it
basically
is a number
keeps
thing.
people's attention to the screen and to their whole thing. Like, if you would watch week after week, what's would that look like for a KPI
KPIs.
person?
Right. Right.
Yeah, because you would
Yes.
see them go on for an hour and then disconnect.
Yes.
And so their whole thing is, yeah, we need to reduce disconnects and we need to increase watch time. And it's
Watch time.
just
Right.
like, because with a visit, with a disconnect to them, there comes a risk of like, do they come back to watch this or not? Do they come back to
Right.
Netflix? And so it's that whole business thinking of, we need to basically
Right.
rob
Right.
people's attention, and we
Exactly.
need to
Exactly.
force them to watch it all.
Right.
And
And yep, yep. And if you're a paying customer, you are forced to have an inferior experience. Because what's the point of watching them all in one go when the conversation online was happening week by week? And
it,
and not only that, but
oh,
it meant that if you were a
did you
person who
know?
is online, you would be getting spoiled
Did you
in
know?
advance, right? Go
Did
ahead,
you
go ahead.
know that I watched Gravity Falls
Right.
when the episodes came out in America? Like that, I don't think if you realize, but I did the same for Steven Universe. I think no, I didn't, because they aired the ending when I first got into it. I think no, I think I watched. I didn't. Okay, but okay, for Gravity Falls, there was this. I got into Gravity Falls when I was somewhere in high school,
Right, right.
2015. Oh, it's so long ago. It's very bad feeling. So I watched the entire series up to the point of an episode called "A Tale of Two Stands." And for anyone who hasn't watched Gravity Falls, a little bit of spoiler alert, but basically that's the episode where, when shit was hitting the fan before now, the fan turns into a turbo fan. So the shit is going into high velocity after this point. So after I watched the entire series, and then there was this huge hiatus that happened between the last episode and A Tale of Two Stands. No.
No?
Oh, okay. No. The
Okay, okay, okay.
last episode at that point happened with Cliffhanger,
Right.
the author of the journals. And then I'm not going to say what happened next, because that's a little bit of a spoiler, actually. So for anyone who hasn't watched it, please do. Gravity Falls is amazing, but it ended into a cliffhanger. And so I stayed up until 3 in the morning, my time. I was in high school, remember? So I
Right.
really, really, really needed to get up at, what, like 6, 7? So I was up until that point, keeping myself awake. I watched the episode on some kind of weird, sketchy site, which you streamed the entire Cartoon Network's um, thing to Europe.
Right, right.
I watched the episode. I wasn't. I think I was in some chats, which was just react. And that's when I really, really, really got to enjoy the online live TV experience, where you
Right,
would
right.
watch an episode at the same time as everyone else, and all your feeds would just fill with the latest impression that happened that exact moment.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
just an experience that you can have one time. I have yet to really have Fedi have some kind of same experience. The closest that I got to it was the Apple event, which
Eurovision. The
the
Europe.
the latest Apple event was honestly also kind of straining the server, which was impressive.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
But yeah, the whole point. What I'm gonna want to get at is just watching an episode live and just being with so many people online who are
sure.
watching it at the
Sure.
same time is some kind of magical connection moment where you don't know those people, you don't care to really know those people, but you really see their impressions, and you just see just like 1,000 voices which say the same thing, and then it's just like, oh, this is a really big moment in the film. It's kind of like an adjacent of like laugh tracks, but it's
Right.
humane. It's
Right.
like
It's
really
it's
really human,
real
a
audience
real
experience.
reaction, and you
A
would
real
not
audience
really be
experience.
sitting in a theater, because then you would be sitting in a theater, but you're seeing so many people just react, and I could go on, but it's just so amazing.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. Do you mind if we start asking
Yeah,
some
sorry,
audience
sorry
questions?
for
No,
the
no,
massive
no, no,
diversion.
no, no. Honestly, this
We
in fact,
haven't
this
even started the questions, and
I haven't
I
started
already.
questions. I haven't started
You
questions.
originally asked like something like what is my Fedi history or
Yeah,
something.
honestly,
Where
it doesn't matter, right? Because the tangents of one, and that's what makes a show like this so good. That's what makes this like the opposite to
I'm
like
just leading you back because I don't know where you were at, but something like which got me to tell my Fedi history and then my
Yeah, yeah.
other history.
Honestly, it's completely fine. It's completely fine. I anticipate this kind of stuff happening. This is totally the vibe I'm going for, right? This is just a communication between me and you and the audience, and honestly, it's a good vibe. It's a good vibe. I'm not, if you want to say shit, you can say shit. It's not like, I'm not a fucking moderator. Okay, I'm your friend. It's completely. But anyway, let's do some audience questions actually. So about 22 hours ago, I did ask everyone if they had some questions to ask me and you, and we should go. Well, we should go from top to bottom, I guess. So the first question is from Fen at Zona.work. Hello, Fen. My question for Joe is, where is the recording studio?
uh, hmm.
Where? What? That's
I,
a.
I had an ominous answer to this. Like the recording studio exists in the void, but right now I'm actually thinking of a very specific place, which is like, I don't know if you've played the game Control.
Yes, yes, I have played
It's
the game
that
Control.
phone room
Yeah.
in the
Oh my
middle.
God. Yes. Yes. Okay.
It's
Good.
just
Good.
like
Good.
this very specific place. I'm just imagining right now. This
No, no.
what studio?
Yes, it is. It is the phone room. It is the phone room. It is the phone room. You have picked up the phone and you're talking to me.
The visual I need to give people is that Control is this game where well, if you don't know SCP, the SCP Foundation, it's basically the entire vibes from that, but placed into one Bureau of Control, just a
Yes.
Federal Bureau of Control. I have a sticker from that. It's amazing. It's
Okay.
um it's this large building, large brutalist building in New
Yes. If you
York,
if you imagine a kind of
and the
traditional corporate office, then you're pretty much like halfway
it's a
there
real
to the.
location, by the way.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That whole building, but there's this whole conspiracy or whatever happening where you're the director and you need to answer to an astral entity called the
The
board.
board. Yes.
And the one place where you could do that is via the hotline, which is a red telephone, which exists in a room suspended in right into the middle. I think it's a square or either a sphere of
Yes.
emptiness, where you're standing at one point in the game. You're standing there and you're like, I need to cross this just giant gap, and
Yes. It's a
it's
giant
just a
chasm.
room
Giant
like
chasm.
suspended in the middle of nowhere. It's entirely dark, and you're just like, oh yeah, this is suspended above the void in a chamber inside of this house. The house, the
The
house with
house.
caps, and for some people also blue.
That's a good reference right there. So, Fen's second question is, do you need help getting out?
uh,
I think you're pretty
yeah,
comfortable in here,
there's
right?
a leaning chair. I remember there being a leaning chair, so I think I'm actually pretty comfortable.
Okay, okay. At Nico Neko from 0w0.is, I would like to ask if Joe likes non-binary apples and if they've ever meowed.
Kaneko? I'm not seeing this. Sorry, can you repeat it? Because I need it.
Yeah. This was a DM.
Oh,
This was a
okay,
DM to
okay,
me.
okay.
That's why you can't. That's why you can't see it. I would like to ask if Joe likes non-binary apples, and if they've ever meowed. So a
A
two-part question.
non-binary app. What apples?
Yes, a non-binary apples. Do you like them? That's
I'm
the
now
question.
imagining like do you know those spinny emojis that recently graced the Fediverse? I'm
Yes,
imagining a low
yes, the
poly
low poly
a low
ones.
poly apple
No poly
with
apple.
the non-binary flag just spinning around.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Would
That
I
that should
like a
happen. That
non-binary
should happen.
apple? I mean, there's an apple in the Netherlands, at least in the Netherlands, called Jonah Gold. I like
Oh,
apples,
okay,
so I would say if it makes me even more non-binary, then yes. Then I would
perfect.
eat the apple.
And the second question is, have you ever meowed?
I don't. Well, yes.
You do make
I
noises,
I
but not
make
not
noises,
particularly
but it's
meows.
like, do you want to ask me if I did it consciously or unconsciously? Because I've definitely done it
Uh,
consciously, and I know some people right now who do it unconsciously, and I'm just like, my brain is not wired right now to be a cat, but yours clearly is.
right. That's fun. That's funny. Okay, the next one is from a Wetacat at possum.city. I
Possum
apologize
City
if
is an
I am.
amazing name.
Possum City is a great location, great instance. So Wetacat, I'm so sorry, Blaze.
Werterkat.
I'm so sorry that I have mispronounced your username. Wetacat at possum.city. So the question is to both of us actually. What games have you
I
two been playing? So I'll answer this one first. So I have been playing. Oh gosh. Well, actually, I started playing Driver San Francisco on stream. I stream on
I saw you
twitch.tv/Yes
install it. It
Yes,
was
and
just like, yeah, this ancient install pop up.
Oh my god, you have no idea. Okay, so installing it was such a ball ache. So the game is from 2011, right? And the only way you can install it is if you mount an ISO, right? A disk
Oh,
image. Okay, right?
oh,
So you have to basically trick the. So you basically have to virtualize a CD drive, right? I haven't had a laptop with a CD drive since like
oh. I
2014 or
have so
something.
much crap.
So
I
so
have
you have
some
to
CD drives, but even those are just such a pain to set up.
right. So I have to. So you basically have to mount the ISO. Okay. I mean that's not particularly difficult, right? Okay. But the next step obviously is to install it from the ISO from the CD image. So the installer will pop up, right? And it comes in this very. So I have a very dense display. So
Oh
the
no.
installer pop up obviously is designed for a time when the maximum screen
What was
resolution
it
was
like
like
this
720p
was
or
it like a
whatever.
custom JPEG kind of thing?
It was so small. It was so
Oh.
tiny, right? I think it was like 300 by like 100 pixels. It's such a small screen, and all the text was really tiny. Anyway, I pressed the OK button, right, to install it, and it didn't work. And I'm like, what? Why didn't it work? What the fuck? It told me that I needed to run it in GUI mode.
What?
The problem is that yeah, the problem is that when you open it, it runs in GUI mode. And if I try to run a command line interface on the ISO to install it via command line, it will just straight up fail. The terminal would just not recognize the installer. I don't know what it is. Anyway, it turns out that I needed to run it in compatibility mode. Basically, I
Y-
had to trick
yes.
the ISO into believing that I was running
Yes.
Windows XP Service Pack 3. and that worked. I had to. It was the screen was still very, the display was still very tiny, but it was very funny to kind of emulate a CD, a disc on a computer that doesn't have a disk drive in any shape or form, any way, shape or form. But I installed it, and it's a really
Right.
fun game.
That's
I recommend it. It's very underrated
trying to
actually.
think.
And it's just so fun. Yeah, go ahead.
This is making me remember some installers like of GOG games, which didn't even want to
Right.
work off an ISO. They really needed to see that it was a disk drive and see that it was loaded and see that it had the contents. So I had to install some software which emulated the drive and then. But yes, I really it was just like, you don't have a CD drive. I will crash now.
So the game wouldn't
No,
install even for
no,
because you didn't
it
have
was just
SD.
like, yeah, you need to insert disk two, and I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna mount the ISO and mount it back? And it was like, insert disk two. You have the same drive number. What do you mean? No, insert disk two. Okay, okay, then I'm just gonna insert disk two in my real CD drive.
Yeah, I mean, older games are so interesting
They,
to
yeah,
consider in terms of trying to
yeah.
install them,
Okay,
because the thing is that Driver San Francisco isn't all that old. It's only about a decade old, right? And I had to mount it, and to think that there are games like that are risk of
oh, game
not being
preserves.
preserved,
Yeah,
because the game will just not work
you
on a
need.
new
Yeah,
computer.
I
Um,
even tried to run games in VMs recently, and it's just like this game is at risk of not being able to be played anymore because it doesn't run in the VM because the VM
right,
software is crap. And
right.
GPU acceleration APIs, which existed back then, aren't distributed anymore and don't work. And
Right. Yeah.
ironically, it worked on Linux. It didn't work on the Windows VM.
That's funny. You actually do remind me. Obviously, I've been playing GTA 5, GTA 4 quite a bit, on stream and so on and so forth. And the way to and the game itself will run better on through Wine, on Linux, than it will natively on a Windows PC, because Linux will convert the DX shaders,
Yes,
I believe, into
Vulkan shaders.
Vulkan.
Yes.
Vulkan, right? So if you want to get that level of performance on the Windows computer, you will have to you will have to basically ask your Windows computer to run the game with Vulkan shaders, and it works. It actually smooths out the gameplay. It makes it much easier to run, even on a computer like mine, which has an integrated GPU and Intel
The
XC chip, which is actually not much of a slouch when it comes to running games. But
it's a
DXVK is just
marvel. It's
it,
amazing.
it's a marvel. It's a marvel, and it speaks to the fact that one, GTA 4 was never
I
optimized that
like
much
it,
anyway.
it's so
But
good
it
that I remember something being told about Intel's new GPU, which wouldn't work with native old DirectX API. So it just installed DXVK on your computer just to make all. Yeah. So
that's
my
so funny.
games, yes. So
Your
I
game.
have actually, I don't really play that much game anymore. I could mention the latest games that I've played. Like I still need to finish Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know why.
Oh yes, I have been playing that. I've
I
been playing
don't
that
know
too. I've been
why,
playing
but
that as
it's
well.
just like I've come to a point where I'm just like, yeah, I've seen most of this game. I don't know if I want to complete it right now. Yeah, it's just so good. Okay, so that's Tears of the Kingdom. I have downloaded
Says
and
again.
played Baldur's Gate 3 on my Steam Deck.
Okay.
Um, I need to play it on the computer, I think, because honestly, my experience with it was just like, yeah, I have console keybinds or whatever, but it was clearly not really made to be um, to be vibed, to be immersed into where you're using a controller. Maybe it
A
is, but
gamepad. Right,
my
right.
my experience, I
Your
haven't really been a
experience.
console gamer or really played with consoles or a console or controllers and that sort of stuff. It's great for Hades, but it's not really great for this game, I feel. So,
Right, right.
and also just the fact that I lost 50% battery when I sat into the character selection screen for an hour. I lost 50% battery because of that, and I was just like, yeah, that's and when I played it, I was just like in this tiny vacation room, and so when I finished playing it, I opened the door and I could just feel the difference in heat between the inside and the outside. And I was like, oh wait, my Steam Deck has been outputting heat this entire time. It has heated up this room by so much, by like 5 degrees or something.
That's
So yeah,
fantastic.
I'm gonna mention some more games because I think like
Go ahead, go
so
ahead.
the last game which I really played is Ultra Kill. It's so
Right. Can you
fucking
tell me more about that? I know a few
oh,
people
it's
have been
so
mentioning it.
good. Okay,
And should I play it? Is this something that
so
you'd
if you
recommend for me,
have
knowing me?
ADHD, it's the absolute most perfect game you can play in a sense. I
Okay.
was also like, okay, I'm just gonna say it right now. For any Ultra Kill players, I haven't had my minor assist, the auto aim setting, by lower than 20%. Sorry, but this is just how I have played the game. So I'm just gonna explain it to you right now because this game is amazing in this
Hmm.
in I would say visuals, like simplistic visuals. Like I don't think I'm how much more I can say about it. The audio is amazing. The gameplay is
Right,
like
right.
the fact that I listen to Ultra Kill on a regular basis, the OST, is not a joke. It's literally almost becoming my comfort soundtrack at this point.
That's
Um,
amazing. I mean
so yeah, I'm also
that's
gonna
good.
explain the accessibility because you would say
Okay.
it's an FPS. It shouldn't have accessibility, but no, it does. And the fact that it does,
Oh, it's an FPS.
it's a
Oh,
first person
okay.
shooter. You because the first lines you would see, mankind is dead, blood is fuel, hell is full. That's the intro. That's no,
That's it.
it's
That's
not
great.
really the intro, but it's when you boot up, so to speak. That's what you see first, and it basically sets the tone for the entire game. It's just a shooter. You just shoot. It's just an FPS. But okay, the accessibility. So again, you would say shooter, and you really need ultra precision if you don't use accessible features. So you would just you really need to be accessible. There's also just this mechanic. You're gonna laugh. There's this mechanic. You flip a coin, or you throw a coin, and when you shoot the coin, it ricochets it to the nearest enemy. Yes, it
No
does.
way. That is so
Yes.
cool. Oh, that is some like action movie.
And you can throw multiple coins. Hmm. And I will not tell you what will
No.
happen because when you do it for the first time, you will absolutely be be thrown off your pants, so to speak. So
Okay,
actually no,
okay. As
maybe
soon
that's
as I'm
you
gonna I'm
you
gonna
you want to
I'm
play
gonna
this
wishlist
game.
this
Okay,
game.
you want to play this game on stream. Yes, you really want to play this game on stream. Seriously,
On
on
stream.
stream.
Okay. Oh,
You
okay.
it's an intense game. It's an intense game. Okay, back to the accessibility. You can set
Right.
minor assists and major assists. Major assists will mark
Right.
your playthrough as having used major assists, and one of those are like boss health percentages. But one of the minor assists is that you can adjust auto aim, which is
Oh, okay.
this circle in the middle of your screen, that if there's an enemy inside of it, then the gun will automatically aim at that enemy. Like you don't
Okay.
really, if you have it at 50%, which is just like one half of your screen, then you just need to have the enemy in your viewpoint. You click a button and then it automatically it's an aimbot basically, but without the flickering.
Right.
So that's really useful, but it makes the game less about skill, and it makes it more about the experience. And I really, really, really like that about this game because it makes it more.
Right,
You can
right.
set your
You can
yeah,
play
you
it
can
however you
set
want.
your own difficulty, and that's
Which is good, which is good. You can either choose to play it like a classic FPS, all guns blazing, you know, your skill is what matters between life and death.
no,
Or you can
that's
play
the
it like
that's
it's
the way you play, but the ease with which you
oh,
play it is the entire point here. You can do that anyway, but you
I
can
see.
just like like the auto aim when you have a coin in view, it will automatically shoot the coin. That sort of stuff. It will be cool
Oh,
for you basically. But the entire point is how accessible is that cool? How good will you feel when that cool is? And it's it's um it's like that made the game bearable for me because I am not a first person shooter. I cannot do Twitch
right.
like my mouse will when I need to snipe basically as an example. I cannot because the moment that there's an enemy, I will be tense at the edge of my screen for like multiple minutes. And then when there's an enemy in view, and if I miss by even just a fraction of a second, I have missed, and that's devastating to my psyche because
Right. I feel the same. I feel the
so
same.
like this game is full of it because you will if you don't have this feature on, so to speak, you will miss multiple shots time after time, and then need to stand still to really line up your shot. And standing still in this game is just like, Doom, you're dead. So you really need to be on the move all the time, and you need to be able to shoot and aim at the same time. And that's not even talking about all the tricks and style stuff you can do, switching between multiple weapons, having I can mention one. There's a shotgun, and there's also a feature called the parry. So when some enemy has thrown a projectile at you, you can parry it,
Okay.
parry it back.
Oh, okay.
It is as cool as it sounds because the entire screen freezes for a split second, and you really, really, really feel that you have hit that parry. When you shoot your shotgun, and if you parry at the same time, you boost your own shotgun shots.
Oh my god.
it's it's it's
Oh my
it
god.
gets to that kind of ridiculousness sometimes. it's
That's that's brilliant. Oh my god.
so ultra kill, where was I again? It's all about being cool, feeling cool, and just being like a robot racing through hell. Like it's Doom, but the essence of Doom. You are constantly moving. You're constantly doing it. You're a machine going through. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool. Oh, sorry about that. That is really cool. That's really cool. I've wishlisted it now, so I will look forward to purchasing it and then playing it. Okay, what is the next question? So the next question is from Saffron. So that's spinach at girl clock gridlock girlcock.club. I
Good luck.
sound really weird saying that. I'm gonna spinach at girlcock.club. There we go. And she asks us, what are your favorite pizza toppings? So my favorite pizza toppings is going to be anything that is meaty. I love a good meaty pizza topping, but beyond meat, I think I'm good with like sweet corn,
Sweet.
tuna. I do like a bit of veg on mine, pepper as well. I do like a bit of that. No mushrooms though. I absolutely hate mushrooms in any context whatsoever. But meats, peppers, sweet corns, tuna, egg. Egg is a good pizza topping. It's if you had a pizza with egg, it just
It's
makes it
with egg.
so much better. Pizza with egg, yeah. There's a pizza place in town called At Pizza. It was honestly one of the best pizza places I've ever been to. It's kind of Subway style in that you pick like a base and then a kind of a base spread paste thing. Go along the kind of like the assembly line and they add the toppings and ingredients for you. But obviously, unlike Subway, it's actually like real toppings. One topping option was an egg. They would basically put a hole in the sauce, right? They'd break the egg and place that in the thing, and then obviously they'd cook it all in a big industrial oven, and it comes out the oven. Anyway, the egg really made it so much better. And basically it was a long shape, kind of long oblong shaped pizza. Long egg.
Long
No, no, no,
egg.
no, no. The pizza was long. The pizza is long, not a long egg. But the pizza is long. And it tasted really good. Unfortunately, with like the pandemic and cost of living stuff, the place had to shut down, which is really
Oh,
sad. It's one of my favorite places to go to have pizza. Just
oh,
just 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 like as a pizza place, it was really unique and it was really really good. But yeah, those are my favorite pizza toppings. Oh, actually, one of my favorite pizza places is this other place called 4,400 degrees, which I presume is the temperature that a pizza oven works at. I guess maybe Celsius. That is, I guess
how much was it? Was it
400
four hundred
400
51?
degrees. That's the place. I presume
If it was 451,
would be
then it
Fahrenheit.
it
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be very
No, no.
funny.
I mean, actually, wait. Let me check. Pizza oven temperature. Pizza oven temperature. Maximum. Yeah, 400 degrees. 400 degrees Celsius. Yep. So that's good. So yeah, it was named 400 degrees. And it's probably one of the best pizzas I've ever had that wasn't at pizza. And they really do good with the dough. And the sauce and stuff. Just a really good overall experience of eating pizza. But yeah, so those are my favorite toppings: meat, so chicken, beef, uh, lamb. I do like a bit of pepperoni as well. All that kind of stuff. That's good with me. And also vegetables, so sweet corn, peppers. Um, that's really the only vegetables that appear on pizza, right?
Yeah, you're just evangelizing pizza. I'm just like, I
You like
like
cheese.
cheese.
You like cheese. That's your favorite
I
topping,
am
just
I
cheese.
like my favorite kind of pizza is just like cheese, champignons. I don't know how to say it in English, but it's basically just fungal
Right, right,
stuff.
okay.
It's state of decay as a living thing. No, it's some meaty stuff and anything else. It doesn't need to interfere. Pineapple, and it's fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with a good cheese pizza. I do like a quattro formaggi. That's quite a good cheesy type pizza. That's when they have four different cheeses a pizza, four different cheeses, because quattro, four, uh,
Oh yeah,
quattro
the
cheese
four
pizza.
cheeses
Yeah,
pizza.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, those do get interesting because you have the two normal cheeses, one random, one mozzarella. Then you get an
Yes,
interesting
yes.
cheese, and then you get a
Right.
blue
Yes,
cheese.
yes, that's correct. Yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, blue cheese pizza. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Honestly, as a pizza topping,
it's doable.
it's
It's good. It's
doable.
good.
Anything else, blue cheese?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. Like, I don't know what it is about blue cheese and pizza, but it just works really well. Maybe that's the kind of thing. Next question. Next question is from our good friend Lucy, Lucretia at Final Dot Town. She asks us, "I would like to know what each of you did in Slovakia."
Well, where do you think the Sokovia Accords came
That's the
from?
wrong one. That's Sokovia.
Wait, what? So,
The one in the Marvel films is
oh,
is is
oh,
Sokovia. We're
well, it's
Yeah,
very easy to
we're
confuse
talking
them
about
together. Well, there goes my joke.
the one in the Marvel films is Sokovia. We are talking specifically about Slovakia.
Well, we can make them bleh, this is the I'm speaking like a Polish one. We can make it
Slovakian.
the yeah Accords. You want to?
I mean, the thing about Slovakia is that I deliberately kind of did it as a kind of homage, right, to Slovakia, Slovenia. You know how people get them mixed up all the time. So I was kind of thinking, oh, okay, if I name it slightly different to the one that's in the Marvel films, one, I won't get sued by Disney.
Google is auto recommending it.
Because if you if you type Slovakia into Google, you get like Slovenia or whatever. If you type Sokovia, then you'll get references to the Marvel one. But yeah, it was meant to be a play on on how Slovakia and Slovenia are often mixed up. But I don't know if anyone's actually made that connection until like you did it right now. I think one person has made a connection to the Marvel one, which I then corrected them on. But no. Savoca is the one that I did the war crimes in. Allegedly, that is allegedly. No one has ever actually held me accountable for what I have done to Slovakia as a country. If it did exist, which it doesn't anymore. What did you do in Slovakia? When we went there for a little trip?
little the walk downtown. Nah, I would say. What would I do?
I'm sure you must have done something like take out
It's,
their technology stack or whatever, right?
No, that's too predictable. I I would do something like summon an ancient one and then just walk
Oh
away.
right, okay, yeah. That's fair enough, Joe. That's fair enough. We could always do a good helping hand from the ancient ones in destabilizing in destabilizing a country. That's fair enough.
I mean, this is why I haven't taught the
Right, that's
CIA.
true. That's
This is what the CIA wants from me. This is why they are hunting me down
yeah. I mean,
to destabilize countries with the
with the ancient
ancient
ones,
ones.
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Next question is from Ludum, our good friend Ludum. So that's Ludum at 0w0.is.
Lewd.
Ludum. The first question is for you or for me. I think the first question for both of us is the Riemann hypothesis true? Also, how did you get into computers? That's the second question. Um,
Well, I was gonna say something weird, but then I remembered actually there is a way which we could tell that the Riemann hypothesis is true. It's I don't know if you know about the busy beaver idea in computer science.
what?
Any by any
What?
chance? Okay, so this is gonna be a tangent. I'm gonna try to compress this down, but basically there's a thing in computer science at the very core of it, which is that does a Turing machine halt? Does it
Right.
stop? Or will it just continue on forever and ever, making every single decision it can make? And that's a very central point in computer science. And the answer is we cannot
Sure.
know. If you take any random Turing machine, we cannot know whether it will stop or get to a specific state at any point in time. That's a proven problem, and this is why Alan Turing got so popular and infamous, famous as infamous, um, famous as he has, because it links like it's not only computers, it links to very 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 core branches of mathematics. So okay, that whole thing of does a computer stop or not, blah blah blah. There is this mathematical thinking, which not thinking. There's this thought experiment, which is if you have a specific if you have a specific if you can say that this Turing machine has a specific amount of states, like state 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the operations which it can have is go left, go right, and write a symbol down on the tape, like an infinitely long tape. How long, how wide, what
Mhm,
would be the program we can give it
mhm.
that would write the most symbols on the tape, the most ones on the tape, and stop and halt? And now you can maybe already see the problem, because you first of all need to know if the program can halt, which is undecidable, and then you need to find a program which would halt the program which writes the most ones and still stop. And for that, there's also it makes for a very complex program, because it does weird things like return and then write a zero and then go left and write a one and then go right again, write a zero, and but anyway, so mathematicians have been looking at it, and it's so complex to determine this that we have only found the programs which do it for 5 state Turing machines, and to find the next one is what's going to cost computers the entire rest of the universe to compute or something like that. It's so large. The numbers get so large. So okay, the Riemann hypothesis can be proved by a 744 state Turing machine. A 744 state Turing machine has been constructed that halts if and only if the Riemann
Okay.
hypothesis is false.
Right.
So that's and so if we know, if we can find, like, there's something going on between this and Busy Beaver, like if we can know the program which halts at 745, and I'm probably going to be wrong here, then we can know if the oh no, okay, so if we have this Turing machine, then we can run it for an amount of operations, like say a million. And if we find a busy beaver
Mhm.
that halts at, if we find a busy beaver, so the program which can run for the longest amount of operations,
Sure.
which halts at like a half a million operations, then we know that after that half amount of operation, half million amount of operations,
Mhm.
this Turing machine cannot halt anymore, because the busy beaver is the program which halts at the most amount of operations. So any any Turing machine which
Mhm.
runs
Mhm.
after that, we know we will not halt, and this is why it's so important. We can know if the Riemann hypothesis is true or false this way. We only really need to do the work, basically. And it's a super long answer, but basically maths. Um, how did I get into computers? Uh, if you ask my parents, I've been into computers all my life. Like, I have photos from when I was like 4, where I was basically fascinated by the home computer because I could play Lego. What was it? Lego Spies, Lego Agents, Lego Agent. What Lego Agents? Lego Agents game. I need to know. It was named Lego Agents. Okay,
Okay.
so that was a really good fun game. Um, so I've been into computers all this time, and I remember
Cool.
in middle school, basisschool for Dutch people, middle school, that I could not be grabbed away from the school computers. Like there was, I was I was 10 years old or 9 years old, and it was becoming such a problem that people have had to really turn off the computer to get me to actually turn around and pay attention. Yes, I was just so entranced by computers. It never really stopped, and so,
Oh my
but this
God.
was really as a user, and only in 2019 or something, 2019, 2018, did I really get start to get into servers and programming. Like it was not that long ago that I really started to get into programming. And okay, my first program which I ever really assembled or played with a bot architecture called Discord Go for Discord. Um, Sweetie Bot, yeah. So the first reason I ever got into programming was because I
Mhm.
wanted to take apart a bot called Sweetie Bots on Discord and change it. That was my first experience with programming. To get into the source code of
Right.
a specific bot, change some variables, run it very
Okay.
TOS unfriendly on my own account, and basically send commands to myself to get some data about some servers. Yes, that was really my first reason, because I wanted to get into the Discord API, because I really needed to get to know some more. I don't even know what it was, but it was
That's
something like
crazy.
I need to
That's cool.
be better at computers for this. My first language was Go, Golang. I don't think you know this language, but it pains me that this is my first programming language, because holy shit, I never want to get programming to Go again.
Wow, that's cool. That's a good story. That's a good story. I like that one. Okay, next one is from Elodie. Okay, so that's Crabo Elodie at transfam.social. She asks us, I believe, I don't know if it's you or me, but I can answer it too. How many girls would a girl kisser kiss if a girl kisser could kiss girls? That's the question.
All of them.
All of them. That's a good question. Hopefully that answer that, Elodie. Excellent. Cool. Move on to the next one. Um, this is from Hertog at tech.lgbt. I quite like the profile picture they have. I am actually not following this person. I
Oh,
am not.
Hector is an amazing beam. Follow them. Yeah,
I, I think this is one of those things where I think I'm following someone, but I guess maybe like some
oh,
things that have.
this is the Fedi effect. Like it's kind of eerie that I start following people I see out of my corner of my eye from very different places, and because I start interacting with them and start interacting with other people, I see those people start to interact with you. Like Ada is someone I know for a very very long time. She only got onto Fedi like recently, and she's interacting with you. Like what?
What?
Hello? What's
Really?
happening here?
Oh,
Hertog
that's
is kind of the same. Like only because I interact with you so much, I get people to interact with you too, and I'm just like, huh?
I guess it's funny. It's like the kind of mutual exchange, because I interact with you quite a lot. I basically boost every single post you make. If it's a Joe banger, I'm like,
So,
yes,
but
straight straight
it's
on that,
so
straight on
weird.
that.
It's so weird to see people from my following or my mutuals, close mutuals, when I see them in the feed, and I'm just like, yeah, it's not really context collapse, but it's some kind of weird collapse of like, yeah, this is no longer this group of people. Everyone is now in a big polycule. Like
It's a
what?
big pedicure. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I honestly, I'm surprised when I see other people interact with people that I know, right? And I'm like, wait, these guys know each other? Is this they
Same.
like separately of me, or like for example, Jay? I don't know if you know Jay.
Uh,
Winter Jay. They
wait,
move instances quite
what's
quite
their
a bit.
what's their profile picture?
They usually switch like some kind of anime girl thing. I know that's not very, very. That doesn't narrow it down at all.
You need to give them their current handle because maybe
The
I
current
want to
handle
follow them.
is JJAE at heckin dot how.
How is it real TLD?
Yeah, I guess so. How is the real T?
Oh, oh, I really I need to play the meme. This is a meme moment.
Okay.
Oh meme. This is a meme moment.
That's really quiet, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Whatever. I will just. Oh, they follow me. Okay. I'm gonna follow them back.
Anyway, so Jay moved to hacking.how, right? And hacking.how is, I believe, was a single person instance run by my friend Jegler, right? And so when Jay moved to hacking.how, I was like, wait, does this mean Jay knows Jegly? And my mind was like completely blown by this because I thought, wait, I know Jackley and I know Jay, and they know each other. They know each other so well that Jackley is offering Jay a place on her instance. I'm like, whoa, that's like a level of closeness, I think that's quite close, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know they know each other, kind of thing. But also, what
Yeah.
makes it even more amusing is that because their names are so similar, I get them mixed up occasionally. But that's totally fine. That's a separate story together. But anyway, back to Hertog. So Hertog at tech.lgbt. So Hertog's question is, my first question for Joe is, why are you Dutch?
Why are you gay? I ask me. No, it's no. It's. I was gonna say I ask this question every day. I really do sometimes though, because it's kind of weird. Okay, really, like being Dutch and then speaking English. Like right now, I speak English, but my entire online experience is just English.
Right.
So for the longest time, I was just like, okay, my Dutch is getting worse. Huh? Okay. Why I'm even
Yeah.
still like this is was before 2016. Where I had the thought, okay, maybe I should just move to an English country. No, not anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe moving to an English speaking country is
to
probably
to be honest,
probably
like the last, like the whole debacle between 2016 and 2020, the whole thing, like both the UK and both America.
right, right.
When I looked at it, and when I looked at the Netherlands and Europe, I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty happy to live here, because so many things you don't appreciate until you just heard like, wait, you don't have that over there. You don't
Right, right.
have good roads, or you don't have walkable cities or
Or
something like
bike
that.
lanes or anything like that. Yeah, 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 of course. Yeah, and
And
especially with the UK leaving the EU, that's kind of like that's like a very big thing to lose, you know?
yeah, so I was just like, yeah, maybe I'm happy to live here,
Maybe had to, yeah,
even
yeah.
though even it like I know I was like in that state for a while. Like Europe is good, Netherlands is good. Then recently I met, well, I already knew Ada before she transitioned, but when I heard all of the things coming out of the Dutch insurance and medical world, I was like, what? And it really soured my feeling of nationality or whatever from Europe, because yeah, it's not perfect over here. So the insure, yeah, because when she just told all of the her experiences with, because she's an expert, she's Norwegian, she came to the Netherlands, and I met her at college.
Right.
Been friends ever since, and that sort of stuff. So so when she started transitioning, she basically dumped all of her experiences with me, which kind of, I appreciate that, because it really gave me some insight into how shitty the Netherlands actually is towards trans people. Like,
Right. Oh
wow,
wow.
it's
There's this
it's 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 kind of unreal. Like, it's so much far ahead of anyone else in like the gay department and that sort of thing,
right, yeah. I mean
because
I
they
mean
were the
the
first
first
and sort
country
of,
to introduce same-sex marriage in
yeah. And
2005.
so it sort of has that vibe of like,
Progressiveness.
yeah, they're very progressive, but then I see this and I'm just like, yeah, they're progressive because they tolerate it.
Right.
And when they don't tolerate it anymore, when they can get back or something, like behind closed doors to an expat, which really doesn't even speak Dutch, you can do a lot of nasty things. And so I really, really, really got to know how nasty people are in the Netherlands towards trans people. Like, it's not like the UK where it's just like, okay, maybe, okay, no. Oh, did you know that there? I'm probably being wrong, but this is how I remember it. There's a law in the EU which states that you need to have some kind of dysphoria uh, therapy setup thing in your country, where people can go to be diagnosed with
Right, right.
dysphoria or whatever. It's very basic, and it's just basically be the first step for people. The law states that you have that right to be diagnosed within 2
Okay.
weeks. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. The current waiting list is 4 years.
Holy shit, just to get diagnosed with dysphoria?
Yes.
That's
And
incredible.
the constraint here is budgets.
Right.
The amount of people, it's basically even just, it's not even budget, but it's the amount of people which can handle people at the same time,
It's the amount of
as far
people who are
as
qualified to make that judgment, and there are
yes.
just not enough of those
And
in the Netherlands.
the government is basically just like, yeah, we're going to keep this the same since 2010.
That's crazy.
So
Yeah.
when I heard that, I was just like, what is going on here? It's so far up the government. Even it's not even just like individual people in the insurance company. It's just, it's
It's
systematic
systematic.
in our
Hmm.
governments, and it's not being talked about because of the whole "don't rock the boat" sort of
That
thing.
that
Don't
that
make a
right,
mess,
that kind of
and
classic
and and
Dutch
and and, and it's really, 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 really just grinding my gears about the governments that first of all, fuck Mark Rutte.
Fuck Mark
Second
Rutte.
of
Fuck
all,
VVD.
um, the fact that what he's done, and I don't even know if I can blame him, but also just the civil servants which see this and don't
Right,
act.
right.
Like this is a serious problem which is kind of known, so they must have heard of it, but no, they don't take any action. I'm just like,
Well, I mean, you know, if you remember the recent news that I think it's either this week or next week or sometime soon, what's it? Let me just check. Let me just fact check myself before I say something. Uh, uh,
they won't be like me where I just say things because I remember them.
the Tweedkammer is going to vote on a bill that will block
Sorry, the what?
the lower house of the Dutch Parliament. Did I say it wrong? Did I say it wrongly?
De Tweede
Tweede
Kamer.
Kamer. Oh my
Oh,
god.
the second Kamer, the second
Second
chamber.
chamber. Yeah, yeah.
Just maybe the
The
lower
lower
house.
house. That's right. The
It's
lower house.
fine.
Yeah, yeah. So the lower house is going to vote on a bill that will block the use of hormone therapy for minors. So it is the rot, the transphobic rot is deep within um the this rot is deep within the kind of
Oh wait, I know this
yeah,
one.
the rot is deep within the
Oh,
political.
wait, is it called the transgender wet? Transgender wet, or what is it called? I think it's onthouden tweede. Let me just see,
Sure, sure,
because
sure.
if it is, oh no, this is a different one. This is basically just to be able to get an X on your passport. But no, blah, 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 blah. No, I don't know this one. I have heard of it, but I don't know the exact name. And it's just like you mentioning it. I would not be surprised if it's proposed by one of our far right
Right. Yeah.
parties like Forum for Democratie, which is literally Forum for Democracy.
Right. For democracy.
What a name for this party!
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, many. It's funny because, of course, the far right grouping in the European Parliament is something like they're called like the People's Movement for Democracy or something like that.
Oh.
So yeah. Using the word democracy is quite good. But yeah. I mean, you're right. It is a battle across not just the UK, but of course across Europe, especially in Western Europe, about trans people and especially about gender affirming care.
I don't know what I can say about the European Commission and European Parliament and that sort of stuff's opinion on this.
Mhm.
I think that because, as far as I remember, the whole law that is like, yeah, you need to have basic dysphoria diagnosis people in your country was made because they honestly believe that it came from Parliament, it came from the
Right,
Commission.
right,
And then I can say, okay, then they're not really that. Then they are, but they are not policing it. They're not enforcing it. And so what I want to get at. What I want to get at is I don't know if I can say that the European Union is better than America, just overall, even systemic, or even just in the governmental rots for transgender people, or for non-binary, for queer people.
right, right,
Like, I think that in America it is more polarized, it's more extreme, like the extremes are very far, but that makes it hard to identify where the center is
hmm
and where Europe is, because I think Europe is more contained in just like, yeah, this sort of narrow slice of, yeah, we're we're pretty transphobic, but not like to the point where we actually kill
right,
people.
right,
Hello.
right. Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
to be generally accepting of people in positions, and sure, but not really the exorbitant queers, or not the
Right, right.
non-binary people.
It is the right amount of queer that is acceptable
It's,
in
it's
you know it.
so in Europe, I don't know where it is at, like where the standard is, and if we're ahead or behind in America. I would say that in America, the extremes cause some, I would say, more churning, and in Europe, it's just like the situation with an
Right.
S capitalized.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I mean, I if
More experimental stuff in America, and in Europe, it's just like, yeah, just go be queer in this bar or something.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, Europe. I mean, Western Europe in particular, of course, as a kind of bastion of progressive values, is really been eroded by the past 10, 15, even 20 years of kind of well, especially over the past like 15 or so years of kind of this shift rightwards, especially in young people. If you consider recent opinion polls, this idea that young people are more leftist or more progressive, whatever, is simply not as true as it once was. If you look at opinion polls in many major European, Western European countries in particular, you will
it's
see support for far right and even kind of Nazi adjacent parties rising, I
it's
feel like especially like the AfD in Germany, which is of course
AFD.
which is of course in sharp contrast to uh, the UK actually, where those people who are younger, so around
Ah,
my generation and younger, are actually shifting very hard towards left wing opinions, and those are actually not represented very well in UK politics. Whereas, of course, in Europe, with the more open kind of
I I would say that it's different. Like my armchair politician
right, sure,
opinion here is that I would say that what I see is that people are being pressed.
yes,
Like young people are being pressed and being stressed and being
yes,
given problems they don't have any idea of how to solve,
yes,
even in abstract. And they're given solutions by parties which are just like, yeah, blame those people.
yes, exactly, exactly,
And this
uh,
is a base. This is how fascism starts, for
yes,
example,
yes,
because you can harbor hate, and then that hate, it doesn't matter where it ends. It needs to end somewhere, and when people give that place, you can harbor apathy, and apathy can harbor fascism, and it's just
pardon me, sorry, yes, yes,
it's so from that perspective, it's just like more the fact that people are being stressed and don't know what to do,
hmm
together with the fact that the democratic institutions are clearly not working as they're
yes,
supposed to be.
yes.
Because why are we still not transitioning to clean energy? Why is Germany starting new coal plants?
Right. Why is the
Why
Green
is
Party in Germany actively voting in favor of restarting green coal plants? I mean, that in itself is something that would be unthinkable even 5, 10 years ago. But to consider that we are at this point, um,
so concurrently to the fact that like people are being getting disassociated with current structures, they're also being basically lured by a party which says, yeah, because we have permission from you to kick apart this entire structure, and now you will vote for us because we're the only party calling for it, and you have this frustration which you cannot bear anywhere else
yep,
constructively,
yep,
so you will just listen to the first thing which we say because we look authoritative, and
that's it.
we look trustable, and now you will get our vote. And I'm just like, this is concerning.
It is
This is
concerning.
really, really,
It's
really
concerning,
concerning.
especially, and it is understandable. No, excuse
Like Volt,
vote, right,
I don't know if you know Volt, but one of I would say that I was one of the first people which voted for Volt in the Netherlands. Right now, I have different ideas of how to vote, but that vote was basically a similar sort of frustration vote.
right,
I look towards the Dutch government, and I see so much bullshit. I look towards the European level of government, and I see a lot of just bureaucratic good work. So why would we not foster that? And I was just like, yeah, let's export ideas from Europe and put it into the Netherlands. That was the whole campaign of Volt, and they got votes for it. And one of those votes for was mine.
right.
And right now, I see it a little bit differently because it's I understand the EU more better, better
Mhm.
in the sense that yeah, why isn't the EU policing basic human rights stuff like the this whole transgender dysphoria diagnosis stuff? And the what I see is just it's a matter of oversight, and it's a matter of just cooperation because I think one of the reasons is because there's still a little bit of latent transphobia, which is at the very least not eroding this law, but more or less just stopping it from working,
Yep, yep,
because civil servants can't do anything because else they'll just get shit canned from their own government.
yep,
So
yep.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
like the whole interaction is so much more complex. But I don't know who I'm going to vote for. My neighborhood seems to know what they're going to vote for. They just voted an entire brigade of farmers into the lower house. um,
Right, right. Because you guys are going to
so
have an election soon, right? For to
again, yes,
again, yes, because the
again,
government decided
we
to
have we have.
do a bit of
I
a
think I think we have had a coalition for the less amount of time than it took to form that coalition. So
right.
this is going to
Yes,
be
yeah.
interesting.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Very, very little.
Oh, and yeah, and so well, what's actually interesting this time is that Mark Rutte left. Like he said, I'm done,
Yes.
and I'm just like, fuck yes. And afterwards, a lot of other high-ranked people also left.
Oh, okay.
And so right now you have a sort of brain drain going on
Within
in
the
the
VVD.
lower house. No, in the entire
Oh,
lower
in the high
house.
lower house.
Just a lot
Oh,
of people,
okay, okay.
a lot of people, high standing, long serving people just leaving because I don't know. They A lot of them stated that it wasn't. I was going to say it wasn't fun anymore, but I'm just going to think. I'm just going to say that they basically just were tired with the toxic arguments and sort of stuff. Just the work culture
Right,
basically.
right.
So they saw an exit and they took it. And what's going to happen next election, which is that a lot of those people, a lot of new people are going to inhabit the lower house. So I hope that some
The
actual
actual right,
refreshments
right.
will start,
Yes.
and we will see a coalition which isn't led by Rutte in the first time in 20 years.
That's
And
an
I hope that will be a new beginning
I hope so
for
too. Yeah,
for
I
the
mean,
portion.
it's interesting to think about how Rutte is basically one of those European prime ministers that exists just for so long, and it feels like it is natural.
That's what being Dutch is like.
Okay, great. So the other question he asked was, sorry, what's their pronouns? It is they them. Oh, he him or they them. Okay, so I didn't misgender her tag. Thank goodness. My second question is Frinkadel from her tag.
It's it's not pronounced that way, but it's honestly, it's that's way too funny. It's just way too funny. It's pronounced
Okay.
frikandel, but it's basically just hmm, how would I best and most disgustingly describe it? It's what you would call a sausage,
Ooh, I love
but
sausage.
instead of it's instead of the meat being the skin being nice and tender, it's shriveled up like an old man's skin on the outside.
Okay.
And this is
Okay.
what you would put uh this is what you would put inside of a bun, and you would use it like you would eat it like a hot dog basically, or you would get this next to your French fries in your order. You would ask for either a croquette, which
I love
is
croquettes.
yes, okay, that good, because I don't know how to describe them. Or you would get a frikandel, which is basically just meat, solid meat, the solid meat. Um, um, there's a whole sub war going on between Dutch people between croquette and frikandel, and I'm proud to announce I'm Team Croquette.
Okay. Hopefully that means something to you, Hertog, if you're listening to this. Next question is from the lovely Ada. Um, that's I am Ada at tech.lgbt. And she asks us, how much cheese is produced in your vicinity? My answer to that question is probably none, because all the cheese is made in the south of England. But
Oh,
Joe, you can probably answer that one.
I live near the river area, which is basically the area which has the most. I would say the most. No, not the. I don't know how much cows we have here, but we have a lot of them, and I live really, really near to a very good cheese shop.
Oh, okay.
I would bike in the between the lands. I would bike in the lands outside of my little town to get some cheese, and I would bike back, and that would be my weekly mandatory biking exercise. Besides the going to the train stations, because those are very far away from me.
Right, right. Okay, okay, okay.
I'm still salty that the local bus, they changed it from every half an hour, which was decent,
Hmm.
to actually get places, to an hour.
Oh,
Like
but
the one bus.
I thought the Netherlands was an urbanist paradise. You're telling me that
Like
they did this to you?
the agreement, the guarantee is that for every settlement core, for every town's core, within 2 kilometers, there's a bus station. They completed that guarantee, but instead of that, they just reduced the bus service because capitalism.
Because capitalism. Crazy, crazy. Okay. Next question is from I don't know who this person is. I think they just found my post on the public feed and just asked. This person is called Drew. I don't know how to pronounce that username. It is Crimson Blade. That's
Crimson Blade.
Crimson Blade. What the? Okay, Crimson Blade is spelt very weirdly. Crimson Blade at Amex. Amex dot ch dot
.ch.
ch. So their question is, do you like beetroot? My answer to that question is that I've never really had beetroot.
Same. I don't really remember identify. Oh, actually, I do remember some meals I've ate which had something which looked like beetroot. You never know.
Right, right.
um,
A beetroot could
um,
be anywhere.
something. Yeah, it could be anything. That's something which looks like beetroot, and it was nice. I mean, it's a veggie, so I
Mhm,
think I think it was fine.
mhm, mhm. Okay, okay. Next question is from holy fucking shit. How many questions are left? There's one, two, three. Okay, three questions left. Thank goodness. Next one is from Bard. Bard at transfirm.social. My brother. Uh, the question is, what's creepier to you, a dog with human hands or a cat with a human face? And I responded to this with, what the hell, Bard? So my answer to this question is, if I had to pick, I think a I think a cat with human face. Because like a dog with human hands, I mean, that's kind of, it'd be silly. You know what I mean? Like it'd be kind of freaky but silly. But a cat with a human face, I think that's very creepy to me.
I think I'm the same because I saw this question. I think it was when I was out on a walk or something, and I was just like, okay, what would I object to more? What is more objectionable?
Right,
And it's a cat with a human face because then it can actually speak,
right,
and that's
right,
even
right,
more
right.
scary.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Okay. Next question is from, of course, Mr. Lantern himself. So he asks us. So this is Orange Lantern at froggy.town. If an AI would try to take over your shitposting, Would you abdicate and enjoy your retirement? Or would you try to out shitpost the thing until it bleeds in binary? And how would either of those options look? Well, I personally, Miss Lantern, I would try to out shitpost the thing until it bleeds in binary. I would definitely do that. I would do that because I would never back down. I would never stop doing this. How would that look? I think that's a good question. I think it would look much like it does now. I would just do it harder and more, just more, right? Like sure, the bot can do, the bot can output more, right? But the thing is that you have to get a kind of
Oh,
quality.
that's a very. Oh, that
You
can I
gotta
just okay? Continue.
Right. So you gotta get a kind of a good ship post has a kind of quality to it, right? It's like it has to be a certain kind of well shit to be real, a good there's a bad shit post and a good shit post, and a bad shit post is one that is not authentic, you know what I mean? Whereas a good shit post is one that is authentically bad. It is about the authenticness of the shit post, and that's something that an AI can never really replicate. It can emulate the way I do a shit post, right? But it won't really be the same.
Well, you hit one point, which is speed and like
Right,
volume. And I would say like if an AI like this was oriented for volume, it would actually degrade the quality of its
right,
shitposts,
right,
because a good shitpost really depends on how far away it is from. Someone would read just a feed of normal stuff,
right.
and then a good shitpost is
It's jarring.
getting out of that
Right,
feed. It's to be jarring. It's to be out there while still somewhat maybe making sense or not making sense, or just connecting something in the brain which wasn't connected
right,
before
right,
and wasn't in the area. And that's why a good shit post is really funny. But when there's volume, then the stream of things becomes just shit posts,
right,
and then it is the area. It's no longer
right,
jarring because you're in the area
right. It's the
constantly.
contrast, right? The contrast.
So
You
yes,
gotta have the
so
normality to make the ship post. If every post is a ship post, then no post is a ship post.
yeah. So then you would say, okay, then the AI would post at the same rate as I do. Then it's about quality.
Right.
I would say that you have imaginative examples and you have real examples. The real examples are language learning models,
Yes.
LLMs, all of those, and Markov chains. You have a bot,
Yes, I
right?
have a
You
markup
have.
chain. Yeah.
I really want to make one, but I'm just like, what? I don't even know if it would be funny. Anyway, so LLMs, it would lose instantly.
Right. Right.
It would not make. It would not spark neuron. It would not work. So if it's a general intelligence, so if it's more sophisticated, I would say I would even then have the edge, the out shit posting,
Right.
because then the AI isn't designed to evolve as a
Right.
person like I am.
Right.
And to be honest, the most shit posts I get are from random neuron
Right.
sparks I have
Right.
in
Right.
my own
Exactly.
brain,
Exactly. The
which is me growing as a person, which the AI can do.
right. Yeah. Exactly.
It would just meander in the same
Right.
area, which
Right.
is just like, oh yeah, the same thing. Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah.
I mean, you can very clearly see this in the comparison between myself and the Markov chain bot, right? The only reason why the Markov chain gets occasional traction is because it either does something stupidly absurd.
90% bullshit, 10% actual. Just what?
Yeah, yeah. Like the posts that the Markov chain makes that are that get volume, that gets shares and likes, are the posts that are most similar to how I would actually structure something, right? So it is less
Yeah, it's
it's not
it's
any
um.
it's not that the bot is good,
So
it's
I
that
would
that I
say
am
I would
good.
try to outshit post the thing until it bleeds in binary.
Yes. good.
Not that even it could even understand me because I am not binary.
Me neither. Me neither. That's great. That means this is a gay podcast, right? And the last question is from Rarely Typical. That's Rarely underscore typical at tech.lgbt. They are a brand new follower of me, actually. They only started following me today. That's because I went through all of my follow requests and filtered them. I had about 116 to go through today.
I have the I every time I saw you post it, I literally just heard this.
What?
I don't know if you know that
What the?
sound.
What is that? Play that again.
Did you
Play that
did
again.
you
Play that again and louder. What is that
louder?
noise?
Okay. Let me turn it
Sure,
louder.
sure. What is that?
Have you played Papers, Please?
No.
This is a sound. Okay, anyone who has played it will immediately understand what I mean when I play that song. You need to play that game.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
amazing.
Another game to add to the
Papers,
wish
Please.
list.
I don't want to spoil it because it's honestly kind of fun. I know. It's I every time it's a fairly permanent sound from that game, which just gets me brain neuron spark basically. Every time you posted something which was just approved, denied, it's just very reminiscent of that game. Let me just say that.
Oh, okay. That kind of explains why people were making references to that game.
They were also making references to Papers, Please while you posted that stuff.
Yes, yes. People were like, this is like Papers, Please, and I'm like, oh, okay, sure, I get it. Kind of thing. It's like oh yeah, that explains. Yeah, yeah. People make references to Papers, Please, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is like a video game. But yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, yeah, yeah. It was basically I was acting like a border guard. A gatekeeper. So yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, like I said, I do have a kind of rubric for who kind of follows me. And my aim is to make sure the kind of person that's following me is the kind of person that has a good vibe. I will occasionally follow back, but obviously I only have a very limited amount of space in my brain for people to care about. I think I'm like on. I think I'm actually past that limit of people that I care about. There's actually like not enough time in the day to pat people.
Everyone must be
Yeah, everyone,
padded.
everyone must be padded.
Hey,
Everyone must be padded. Anyone must be padded. Anyway, so this is a question is from Avreli underscore typical at tech.lgbt, and their question is thoughts on thoughts. My answer to that question is that we think them. I suppose occasionally.
I oh, like this is a nerd snipe. Honestly, for me, this is a massive nerd snipe. But I will evade the nerd snipe because at this point we have been talking for 2 hours. So either then it would be 3 hours if I could make it. But no, like I'm very big into AI and cognitive stuff. I talked to a researcher about it, and it's a cognito hazard, to be fair, but it's also just so interesting because I honestly believe that language learning models and that whole statistical AI model stuff, it will not get us anywhere close to a comprehensive AI, something which actually comprehends what you're telling it.
Right.
It will maybe help with like filtering inputs and tell it what to translate it basically. And I think it's actually perfect for that. But no, there's a type of AI which I'm working on, or not really working on. I'm looking at, which I see, and I think this is what will actually be the general intelligence. If it actually got some attention. No, we have the hype cycle looking at language learning models for spam,
Sure.
basically. But no, thoughts on thoughts. I the last few months where I just what I learned about this, all of this, honestly made me look at them different. Fedi in general made me look at them
Right.
different.
Okay.
Oh, in on consciousness in general, just lots of interesting people who think in ways which I'm just like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
How does someone even get to that? sort of thing. How
You
it's
just sorry, you just reminded me of a post. I wrote something like, did you know bisexual people are more likely to survive a hurricane than dead people? And in a comment, someone, I think Novi, wrote something like, Yassine, how the hell do you think of these things? Like what goes like is like what goes through your mind to make a post like this, like connect the dots? Like how do you go from how do you make the joke? And it's like yeah, I like the comments were full of like similar expressions, and it was like, what is this? Like, what are you saying?
I I've never gotten a post of I've never gotten a comment like that myself, but I honestly believe that goes through people's minds when they see my posts.
It's-
Last one was something like Mr. President, sorry, but I've stolen your chalky milk with a blahai and a blanket.
oh, that's so great. That's so great. Honestly, yeah. Fedi is an interesting place, I think. In terms of that kind of experience, you have a chance to interact with people who are different, who do escape the norms, except if they're liberal. That's on Mastodon.social. That's completely different, different kind of person to interact
I
with. But even those kinds of people are still different to the kind of general like population kind of thing. And I think it's interesting that you get such a diversity of opinions and viewpoints and experiences that people can share.
I think that Fedi is perfect for that because it's just a feeling like where general platforms, business in general. Like I saw a whole post, even the fact that I could see such a post. I saw a whole post talking about the dissecting the whole idea of business,
Right.
which is all about eliminating corner cases and generalizing it to be more efficient and how it excels. And it does this to people on social media,
Yes, yes.
on the big platforms. It makes them into these chunks of like sanitized social media slices,
Right.
basically.
Right.
And on Fedi, well, you would say you would see the same. No, it's not about the sanitization. It's more about expression and finding each other.
Right.
And even the process of finding each other those in those ways is a social dynamic. It changes. It's different in local areas. You would the more on Fedi, there's so much more in the social realm of like discussion, of like exchange, of like you would not be in the same Fedi in one corner
Right.
as you would be in another
Right. Right.
corner.
Exactly.
If you're on Twitter, then you're more likely to be in the same kind of area of like how you must present yourself. But no, on Fedi, you can do what you want. You can stay what you want. There's a natural filtering and sorting sort of dynamic of like you will find the people you will vibe with,
Yeah.
and then you will be closer to them than you will be to others. The fact that you can move servers even makes this that makes the connections you make stay the same. And so you when you get on Fedi, you'll basically just slowly and slowly and slowly gravitate towards the people you actually will interact with. And so that makes a diverse yet very connected network. And it's amazing.
Yeah,
I
I
love it.
agree. I agree 100%. I've really, it's interesting because obviously I'm a little bit older than you, so my identity is more fixed in that way, right? My sense of self. But even after coming to the Fedi, and making friends and meeting all these new people and sharing these experiences, it feels like I've grown a quite a bit. If I was younger, I would probably grown a lot more. But I still feel like I've
It's
grown a not insignificant amount since I've been on Fedi,
it
and it helps that I'm found so many like-minded people like yourself and so many others that have helped me kind of move on to that. And it also helps that an audience for my 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 kind of variety of
your
my
vibeness.
vibeness, my variety of posts. It's it's interesting because you know the the early days of Twitter and Facebook and so on, you were kind of there was a kind of there was kind of expectation, this kind of idea, right? That it would be it's a bad thing for you to speak about mundane stuff like what you had for lunch, right? You
What?
know this idea that when people like I remember very clearly talking to one of my relatives around about Twitter way back, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, but do you really have to post your food pics on there every day?" And I was thinking, like, this is the kind of and that's the kind of attitude that people had towards Twitter and Facebook. Like it wasn't a place that you posted your food pics, right?
That wasn't it wasn't a
It wasn't a place that
place
you
you
would
would
be.
be.
But on the Fedi, I post a picture of something I had for lunch, right? Or talk about what I had for lunch, and people will like it. People are like, oh yeah, I'm pressing the star button or react button, and I think this post is something that I like. I want you to know that I like, and that's something that you would never get on Twitter or Facebook. If I posted about my lunch, the engagement
Engagement.
on Fedi. I mean, I don't like that word, but it's the closest thing we have.
No, I mean exactly like how Twitter just
Engagement.
revolves
It's
around
about the engagement. It's about
engagement, and then
making sure your posts are good so that everyone likes them, right? And don't get me wrong,
yes,
there is still the expectation that I write a post because I want people to like it. But the difference is that I want people to genuinely like it. I want people to press that like button because they thought that it was an authentic post, and that's really it. No one is on. Well, most people on Fedi are doing it because they want to
I
show something hive because they want to show something of themselves, whether or not it's who they really are, the master rank. They want to show something on themselves, but they want that self to be as real as possible, and that's all it is. People are posting about, oh yeah, I'm, I get jump scared by the toaster kind of thing, or this is what I had for lunch, or I'm going to see my aunt right now. And like I said, a while ago, the best posts that Fedi can have are posts where someone's like, "Hey, I had a nice sandwich for lunch." Because those posts are the most authentic. Those posts are the ones that are most real because they are someone who is just posting about their life and without expectation that it will mean something, you know and that's the thing. We all want meaning. We all want people to like us. But Fedi is a place where you can authentically be. People will authentically like you, and people will authentically, vibe with you and things like that. There's no
there's no
ulterior motive.
ulterior
I mean,
motive.
sure, like I want people to like my shit posts, okay? I want people. I've written a funny thing, and I want people to like it and sharing. But that's only because I want to show people that I have written this funny thing, and they should laugh at it. But that's because I want to make the joke. Whereas on Twitter, the engagement comes from the fact that, oh yes, I've said this funny
Compa-
thing.
you're competing with so many other tweeters which could fill this person's time with so much better
Yeah,
jokes or something like that.
exactly. On Fedi, each post is on its own merit. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Like what you said about something I'm remembering now. What you said about growing
Yeah.
on Fedi, which is I remember now that I used Fedi for a while to just give my own self
Right, right.
identity a little boost. Like I joke about, like, yeah, I go on there and then I'm not anymore on there. But the reason I was not on there anymore after a while was because it had given me so many new things to think about my identity by the time it was done, so to speak. Because I got into contact with so many people who thought differently or different, well, in some way about
Mm.
identities, and I went from not even knowing really about gender to you know that one conspiracy theory board meme, like the one guy who stands in front
Oh,
of the
yes,
board
yes.
and then just yeah. So I went to not even knowing what gender really was to now going to others and being like that about it because I have had a thought about, oh wait, in the future it will be like this. and or in the future it will be like that, because I think it really just and then I started to see what how society really treats
Right, right.
gender, and now I see, like, yeah, it's not tenable, it's a forced mechanic, and it's not, and it's breaking apart, justifiably so. And people who are scared that there will be a runaway effect in the future are not really right, because it's, I see a seed in gender and attraction that both influence each other and both make each other. Uh, Gender is not the labels or the pronouns or whatever. Those are ways of expression, and those are ways of anchoring oneself to gender. But it's also just defined by, how would you how it's defined by what people want to identify with, and that's the beauty of it. Like today, you might identify with two big blobs of gender, but in the future, would you would identify because, I don't know, you like it. Like, that's what some people do even now.
Yeah,
So I'm very optimistic, and I'm just very. It has broadened my viewpoints, and every time I went on Fedi and every time I left it, I had an self exploration for
mm,
about a year, and then I come back on there, and with this November, it has just been, yeah, I know a lot, and I'm just going to give back because I love this
that's
community.
wonderful. That's wonderful. That's great to hear. That's good. Yeah, gender, of course, is a very complex topic. I think, especially when you.
I do write some stuff, some things. I don't know if I should talk about it, but I've been
Yeah,
choosing it on
go
my
ahead,
own.
talk about it.
No, I think I even in your live streams, I've talked about
Yes, yes, yeah,
writing
yeah.
stuff, like, and I'm still planning a lot of it. It's I do like a view or an idea of an utopic, or not really a utopic, but a good future where things are okay and things are fine. There's still problems, but there, and people, and someone. So when I said this to someone else, they're like, "Oh, you're talking about Star Trek," and I'm just like, "I haven't seen Star Trek."
Oh wow, you haven't seen Star Trek? That's crazy. You should.
Yeah, it's, I need to. I've posted recently. Oh, what do you recommend for me to watch for Star Trek? And now I have a few episodes to go through, and then maybe the entire series or the
Oh
multiple
yeah,
series.
there's been a lot. There's been a lot.
So so I have some writing ideas, and honestly, this is one of the things I'm very happy with, because this is a creative outlet for me. Right now, I'm doing it
Oh,
under
I
a pen
see.
name. Like the very more self indulgent stuff, I'm doing it under a pen name. I don't know if I'm gonna put this under a pen name, but yeah, I think I am enjoying writing. I'm not really linking myself to this pen name because this is very sensitive. This is very
Close to you, right?
close. And so if I link my online identity to something like this, then the only thing which my brain will be able to do is be anxious about who will
Sure,
see
sure.
this, and then be like, "Oh, what's their reaction going to be?" And not being able to mount a good emotional defense against it, because when they see something like that and then they don't like it, I am just going to be like, okay, now I don't like
Right,
myself,
totally.
so let's not do that. So
Right, writing is passion. That's good, man. That's good. Writing is kind of one of those underrated kind of. It's interesting. It's funny, right? Because if you think of other creative outlets, right, like so, like writing music, or photography, or drawing, or whatever, right? You can post those, right? You can post a song and it's over in like 3, 4, 5 minutes, right? You can post a bit of artwork, and people look at it, and it's gone. Or a photo that you take, and look at it, they scroll past, it's gone, right? But with writing, it's one of those creative pursuits that you can't really show to someone in the same way, right? Because the other person has to invest
it's not
time and
instant.
energy into actually um enjoying it, right? Like even if you make a video, for
Yeah,
example, watching a video is is a passive experience, right? But with reading, you have to actively involve, be you have to actively, look at the glyphs on the page and translate those in your brain to words and concepts.
It's even more complex than that because with some prose, with some stories, you really have to
Yes,
build the scene in your head, and so you need to know what the other person can imagine or what they can work with, and so it's that perfect balance of being able to give them familiar things and then add a bit of
yes,
familiarity, and then be like, yeah, this is happening, and then you need to trust that they got it, or and when they don't, yeah, then they hope that they then they're
yeah, yeah, yeah.
lost from your
And of
story.
course, the thing is that reading is a very active process. The other things, you can just kind of you can put music on the background. You can just look at a video. You can just look at a photo, kind of thing. You don't have to actually kind of actively engage in it. You don't have to be like, oh wow, the brushstrokes that you've used here are so masterful. You can just be like, yeah, this is a good photo. But with reading someone else's writing, you have to actively think about it in order to engage with it. Unless you're writing like trashy romance novels that you saw in the airport, and perhaps not, the kind where like the high-powered lawyer from the city goes to the countryside and meets a handsome, strapping young stable boy and realizes, wow, my life in the big city is worthless. I'm gonna move here where there's no economic opportunities just because this guy has a massive dick. But yeah, go ahead.
There, there's a little bit of that in my some of my works as well. Like right now, the self indulgence stuff is just that
Mm,
self indulgence. But the main reason why I write things is because I really want to bring an idea to someone else, and so there's this expectation of how well did I do that, or how well did they receive it or like it, and so yeah, the self indulgent stuff it takes that away, but while also just making it, it's more about me being actually okay with writing something which isn't for others, which is very hard.
mm.
It's also just about self exploration of liking myself and liking what I do for myself and mental health and that sort of stuff. I tried art. I tried drawing, but I did not get over the hump of when I show my pictures to someone else, then I would be basically condemned because it was not good or did not look good or it was off. Because to be honest, the online art community is the fact that everyone has their own has perfected their style. It's visible. You can look at it and be like, yeah, this is proportional art. You cannot really show your kitty art or your bad
Right.
art or your messed up art. And when you do that online, it's not it's very hard to do that. It's very authentic, but it's also just very vulnerable. And I can't do it because I feel like I will just be condemned and not be I wouldn't feel good about it basically.
That's fine.
I am trying to draw, but it's very
Well,
slow.
progress is progress, right? I mean, all the greats must have probably started out not being able to hold a paintbrush, and it takes time. It takes time to master your craft. I mean, I've been shit posting since I was able to use a computer, so I've mastered my craft. But it art is slow. It just because someone can make a good drawing in 10 minutes doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they've always been able to do that. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of time to get to the point where you can create something that looks good in 10 minutes.
I still I still remember that in high school that I made some very trashy fan fiction that I never published. But right now I realize that writing that and then reading stuff afterwards made me sort of train myself on how to
Right.
write something good. And right now I'm just doing that again by writing something which I don't care how it's going to turn out. I'm just gonna throw it somewhere and then be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it better next time. For arts, for drawing, that's pretty hard because I'm at the bottom and I don't know how to even make something which I can be like, yeah, that's it gets the idea, but no, I don't know how to draw. It's self
Yes,
motivation, which
yeah,
is very
definitely.
hard.
Motivating the self is the hardest thing to do, but it is the only thing you can do in sometimes, and the self is the one that you gotta live with. So you gotta make the best of it. I did
Hmm.
not expect to do motivational speaking on this podcast, but we can it goes we can all move in many directions. I think on this show. But yeah, I think that's a natural place to end it. Do you think, Joe?
Oh yeah, that's
Okay,
absolutely fine. It was very
okay.
fun to be
Yeah. Oh,
on here.
thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I guess we're calling it a day on this one. Thank you very much for listening. This is gonna come out whenever it comes out, I suppose. I was gonna give like a date, but then I realized that there's no point giving one, Joe, because they will be listening to this whenever it comes out, right? So anyway, hello to you in the future. Yep. So I have been in Yasin, hosting the Yascast, and this has been the ever lovely Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. On that note, I wish you all a very pleasant day, wherever you are listening to do. And thank you very much to Joe.